What up, Crypto Warriors? It's Archie Crypto back in again. Today is Monday, March 23rd, 2020. Brand thought about it. Can a man still be brave if he's afraid? That is the only time a man can be brave, his father told him. This is a quote from A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. And we are definitely in some scary times right now, and we all have to be brave, because we will get through it. Let's get into it. Coronavirus stimulus package stalls after Senate motion rejected. So I'm not going to get too deep into this story. Again, everything will be linked in the description below. And this is just an article from rollcall.com talking about the fact that the Senate they're bumping heads on the stimulus package that's supposed to be coming out, not only for the big corporations and banks this time, like it happened in 2008, 2009, but for every citizen of the United States. And within this stimulus package, one side was trying to, I'm trying not to be too political here, but one side wanted to sneak in sneak in funds, or have the funds go to these big corporations without any stipulations tied to them, and leaving us again to foot the bill. And this is why this time around, when they talked about having a bailout, because they didn't call it a bailout, they just called it again a stimulus package or whatever, but this time around, they're like, yeah, we're going to give everyone, some money. We're going to give everyone $1,000, because they think by giving us this money that they could say, all right, well, we gave you guys the money. Now shut up, take your money and shut up. Go to the side, and you don't have anything to say because we gave you the shut up money, so to speak. And it shouldn't be that way, because like I said in one of my last videos, these, I'm talking about, let's give the example here, like the airlines. These airlines, they had over 10 years of making billions of dollars, billions in profits. Meanwhile, they're charging us as flyers or customers more to fly, charging us for every baggage, charging us or squeezing us into these airlines like sardines in a can, in smaller seats, taking away TVs and different, just taking away all the amenities and charging us more at the same time, basically making a lot of money. And they didn't put away any money for a rainy day. Now, with this, the bubble bursting because of the virus, they want us to bail them out. Well, you had over 10 years of buying back your own stocks. You had over 10 years of overcharging people, and you didn't put away money, so why should we help you out? Now, I feel like if we do help them out, that they should keep their employees employed, and the money shouldn't go to the C-suite executives getting a bonus at the end of the year, because they don't deserve a bonus. They didn't do anything innovative to deserve a bonus, so they shouldn't get a bonus. And yeah, that's, I could go on and on about it, but that's what basically this article is about. That we have on one side that, hey, if we're going to give this stimulus package to the citizens, we should give them more than $1,000, and maybe it should be on a continuous basis until the end of the crisis. And if we give the corporations a bailout, then there needs to be some kind of stipulations to where if they're taking this money, then 10 years down the line again, they can't come back to us and ask us for more money, or after the crisis has passed and we get out of this hole, so to speak, they can't go back to the same old game they were playing of buying back their stocks. So there needs to be some kind of stipulations when it comes to these corporations taking the money. Somebody's got to pay for it. Goldman's, all right, so next it's coming out of yahoo.com. Goldman Sachs predicts brutal second quarter as unemployment spikes above 2 million. So, here we go right here. So these anecdotes suggest that the next jobless claims report covering the week of March 15th to the 21st, this past week, will show that the initial claims rose to roughly 2.25 million, the largest increase in initial jobless claims and the highest level on record. So with this situation happening right now, a lot of people are getting laid off or reduced hours, or just being told not to come into work, point blank period, because it's supposed to be a 2-week period of us being at home. Only essential workers can leave their homes, healthcare workers, fire and police, things of that nature. They're the only ones that are allowed to go to work. Now, if no one's going to work, no one's making money. If no one's making money, no one's going to want to spend any money. It's a snowball effect, and it's just going to keep, building and growing and growing and growing and growing. This is where we are right now. And, according to Goldman Sachs, tomorrow morning, when they release this report, it's going to show that it's up over 2.25 million people that are requesting unemployment, basically. And it's only the beginning. We've only been in this for a couple of weeks already, so this is only the beginning, and it's supposed to get worse. It's just crazy, man. Crazy times. Who should get a coronavirus bailout and how? Now, this is from the Intelligencer. This is from this author here by the name of Eric Levitz. All right, so I got some parts highlighted, so let's get right into it. Some contrarians argue that the treatment for the COVID-19 pandemic may prove worse than the disease. After all, the global recessions kill humans en masse too. So there you have it. It's going to be a lot of hurt happening in the coming weeks, just like I said, and this is just the beginning. As of 2019, nearly 40% of Americans could not afford to cover an unexpected $400 expense. You could Google it. There are different numbers, all over the place, but that's a lot of people that can't afford $400 if something happens. So we're not going to work now for 2 weeks. And if you get paid every fortnight or every 2 week, right? If you're getting paid bi-weekly or whatever, and you run out of, pretty much we're all living paycheck to paycheck, and people can't afford a $400 expense. So what's going to happen when the utility bills come due, when the rent or mortgage is due, car notes, all these different things? It's just going to be, like I said, that snowball effect, man. All right. The Trump administration has begun discussing a $1.2 trillion relief package that would include immediate $1,000 cash payments to all U.S. adults, while Senate Democrats have proposed a cash assistance package that would provide up to $18,000 in direct aid to a family of 4. So they're trying to work out the kinks. On one side they're saying, hey, $1,000 should be good enough, and on the other side they're saying, for a family of 4 it should be $18,000. So I don't know who's going to be right or which one is right. At the end of the day, I don't think either way is, there is no right or wrong, because if they already bailed out the banks in the past, this time it has to be the citizens, because if they don't, I tell you, man, it's going to be hell to pay. It's going to be hell to pay. So here it is. He says, workers, Already, 1 in 5 U.S. workers have lost jobs or hours as a result of the pandemic. That's some scary numbers right there. The economy, demand, and Uncle Sam can currently borrow at 0% interest rates. We saw that, last Sunday. The interest rates got dropped to zero. Congress must not let its superstitious fear of deficits push it into a penny-pinching fiscal policy that proves orders of magnitude more expensive than giant appropriations in the long run, as Congress did in the aftermath of the 2008 crash. Just like I said before, in 2008, 2009, they provided that cash for those big banks and big corporations, and they didn't use that money to help their employees. All the C-suite executives received their end of the year bonuses as a result of the taxpayers bailing them out. And according to this author here, hey, Congress shouldn't be penny pinching because they didn't the last time this happened. The last time something of this magnitude happened. The last time was because banks were just doing shady banker stuff. It was totally their fault. But this time it's a health issue. It was not really anybody's fault, so to speak. It was just a pin that popped the bubble, and it's just messed up that they weren't prepared for it. As far as, like I said, having that cash on hand, that savings. Nobody has savings. The government don't have any savings. These corporations don't have any savings. The citizens don't have any savings. We're all in it together, right? But there needs to be some kind of stipulation when it comes to these corporations and them getting a bailout. Not for us, just for them. Current proposals for cutting Americans' checks between $1,000 and $2,000 are a start, but the amount should probably be higher and recurring, because a one-time payment will not help. Giving us a check of $1,000 or a $2,000, whatever the case is, once, so say they get it done this week, they get it all passed and everything, and then once it's passed, they cut us a check one time. Well, what's going to happen for and say that check comes, they hit the printing press and that check comes, the 1st of April. Well, that's going to get us through maybe, through April or the first 2 weeks in April. And then what's going to happen then next after that? What's going to happen comes May? What's going to happen in June? Because although they told us, they hit the switch and told everybody to stay at home for these next couple of weeks, what's going to happen? Do they believe their thinking is, or they can hit the switch again and then everything will go back to normal? No, people are losing money. People are losing their jobs. They don't just go back to work. Businesses don't just open up again. Money is being lost right now. So it's a hard pill to swallow, man. I don't know what the answer is. Oh, I'm sorry. The answer is Bitcoin. The answer is Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, because with all this money printing, Bitcoin is definitely going to be our savior. We can tax back the wealthy's share of the handouts once we get to the other side of this. He's living in a fantasy world. This Eric Levitz guy, he's living in a fantasy world to think that we'll be able to just tax the rich to pay for everything, and it doesn't work that way. In the meantime, the government should help workers on both sides of their balance sheets. Tax and mortgage payments, rent, utility bills should be suspended, if not permanently forgiven. So I could go to my landlord and be like, hey, lady, just forgive me for the next 3 months or whatever the case is, however long this thing will last, because it's going to last more than 2 weeks. It's not just going to be a 2-week thing, and it just doesn't work that way. I'm not going to call a gas company and be like, hey, you got to forgive. I don't know. This guy's living in a fantasy world, but it sounds good though. It really sounds good. Next, we're going to talk about the states and cities. So he says, the Fed can and must extend the kind of support it has provided to the U.S. Treasury market to the market for municipal bonds. I don't know why that tied me up so much, but yeah, he's basically saying, hey, if the Fed could go out and buy bonds from the federal government, because the Fed, the Federal Reserve Bank, it's a private bank. It has nothing to do with the federal government. But I'm not going to get into that here. If they could go and buy U.S. Treasuries, then they should do the same for local municipalities in cities and states, which makes sense. They already print the money, so you might as well help out and do that anyway. The central bank has the authority and logistical capability to make this happen in short order. It just needs to care as much about sustaining the functions of state governments as it did about sustaining those corporations back in 2009. Again, they proved to give a shit back in 08, 09 about those big corporations and banks. They have to give a crap about local, states, and municipalities as they did back then. All right, the businesses. Now, this is number 3, businesses. Even if some of these companies are sympathetic, does it make sense for taxpayers to foot the bill for postponing their inevitable demise? So here we are. We have a lot of businesses are going to go under because of this, and they were already going under before this COVID-19 thing happened. So their thing will be to say, oh, it's because of the COVID-19 why we are filing for bankruptcy and we need to bail out and things of that nature. But if you look back and see on their balance sheet that they were sucking at business, just or they were just propping it up by buying back their stock, then they shouldn't get a bailout, in my opinion. The employees should get the help, of course, but the business should just be left to fail. It needs to fail, and that's what capitalism is. At least that's what I thought. But yeah, it just needs to fail, and they should be allowed to fail, and that's it. No federal government coming in to save you or anything like that, and putting it on the taxpayers to pay it, because somebody has to pay for all these bailouts, all this money that's going to come to us. Whether it be $1,000 or I've seen numbers up to $10,000, whatever the case is, somebody's going to have to pay for it. If it's not going to be us, it's going to be our children or our children's children. Somebody will have to pay for it. And again, this is why Bitcoin exists. All right, so that's it. I'm going to leave. Oh, my bad. I forgot this last part here. He's talking about having the government operate as a buyer of last resort, where it doesn't matter, but any business that's going to go under, the government just comes in and pay for it. I mean, reading this article, I mean, it sounds good. I think this guy is definitely living in a fantasy world, but I don't know, man. Direct output loss from social distancing measures would be put on the government's tab, i.e. socialized. Again, he's talking about having us run like freaking the Soviet Union back in the 1980s, when we at the peak of the Cold War and things of that nature. Having the government socialize these companies, having the government bail these companies out regardless of what happened, regardless of how they got here. And it shouldn't be that way. But again, like I said, these articles will be linked in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching. Please smash the likes, hit that subscribe button, please share. And if you're listening on audio podcast, again, leave a 5-star review. And before I go, it's 51 days, 6 hours, and 57 minutes till the Bitcoin halving. It's your boy, Sergeant Crypto, and I'm out. Peace.